Hey, and welcome to the XMwize PodBLAST, real talk in bold, bite-sized episodes. I'm Debbie Potgieter, and in each couch-style conversation, we sit down with local thought leaders to unpack the stuff that shapes how we think, lead, and live. No fluff, just relatable insights in under 15 minutes. Because around here, we believe in one thing: we make every interaction count. Money doesn't define me, but it affects me. Welcome to XMwize PodBLAST. I'm Debbie Potgieter, and with me again today is the beautiful Wendy Selebi. Welcome, Wendy.
Thank you, Debbie. I love the beautiful part.
But you are. Wendy, I want us to talk a little bit today about how money makes us feel, and that we have the power of words to affirm how it can be better, and not to look into the deepness or the darkness of when things go wrong and when we make mistakes with money. Mm-hmm. But how do we lift ourselves out of that and use words of affirmation and power to lift us? Yeah. What is your view on that?
You know, money, savings, and just money under general is a psychology. And one needs to have the right mindset about it. And creating wealth, managing money, saving has got emotions. It's emotional. So we need to be careful of our emotions. If you are, feeling anxiety about money, then all your decisions that you make about money will come from that anxiety part, and you're not able to really think through what you're doing, And if you deal with money again from a point of shame, because probably you made some money mistakes and you now move from a point of shame, I think what's important is that you need to forgive yourself and then move on, because if you are moving from a point of shame, you'll start hiding things from your partner, from your family. Nobody will really know what you're going through, because according to you, the money mistakes that you made, are accompanied by shame. So I think even the positive emotions are the ones, that drive us to then do the right things, the courage to say, I made a mistake, but I'm dusting myself off and I'm going forward, determination to say, no matter what is coming my way, I'm going to stick to what I had purposed that I'm going to achieve. So in a nutshell, all I'm saying is that let's not allow negative emotions to, become what directs our future. We all have made money mistakes. I made so many, but I learned from them. The trick is to learn and then take the learnings and restart.
And it's not to say, Wendy, that we can't make a mistake again. So even though we make a mistake and we feel shame, we talk about it, we involve people to help us to learn, and we take it forward, and then it happens again. It doesn't mean that the second time it happens, look, if it's the same reason and you haven't learned, well, that's a different story. Yeah. Then maybe you need to have a strong conversation with yourself. But if it's something else and it's a new learning, embrace it.
Yeah.
Because it's the more money mistakes you make, the more money wins you'll make. The more we learn, the better we will behave in the future. Yeah. What words of affirmation should we put out there? Should we talk to ourselves about? What do we say when we get up in the morning and we want to be positive about our money situation?
Self-love plays a critical role. When you are positive about yourself, you will say positive things about yourself, When you wake up, you have those affirmations to say, today I'm going to reach all my money goals. And so when you leave the house, when you go out there, It's playing in your mind. And as you hit the stores and as you engage and as you spend your money, you're so mindful because that positive affirmation is driving you. And so you go out there, and if you can do that every day, then you'll be amazed at how you'll start making the right money decisions on a daily basis. I always tell people, Debbie, that, every day, be mindful of what you spend your money on, how much you spend, and are those things really contributing towards you achieving your goals? Because every day, the decisions that we make have an impact on our finances. It's incremental decisions on finances that become a whole. So I think we just need to be kind to ourselves, love ourselves enough. If I've made a mistake, I made a mistake. Tomorrow we go at it again. Yeah.
Excellent. I love the way you put that, self-love and self-compassion. In the end, though, sometimes we find that we get overwhelmed with the idea of perhaps not having enough to cover basics. And we find ourselves put into corners where we have to make decisions that may not be the right thing. What is it that we should be doing at that point in time? And when we're overwhelmed and we're in a tight spot, what would your advice be?
Debbie, before I even respond to that, one of the things that I think is very important is knowing who you are when it comes to money. There are these money personalities that we all have. And so when we see money, we use it based on our money personality, which is shaped by our context, where we grew up from, the money myths that we've heard, what we heard our parents say, our experiences about money. They shape how we deal with money. So sometimes when you find yourself overwhelmed, maybe it's because you're overwhelmed because at the back of your mind, you remember that as I was growing up as a child, we had so much lack at home, and I probably was sitting under a tree and I purposed that when I start working, I'll never lack again. So here am I, it's during the month, and then, my finances are not adding up. What comes up is what is in my mind, subconscious mind, to say, oh my goodness, what I experienced as a child is happening today. And then you get overwhelmed, and then you don't know what to do. So I just want to say that when we get to that point where we are overwhelmed, I think what's important is to pause and to acknowledge that this is where I'm at. How do I move forward now that I'm here? Because if you're in panic mode and you're overwhelmed, you cease to think, and if you can just pause and acknowledge that I'm here, and maybe how did I get here? That is a very important conversation that one needs to have, to say, Ibile, how did I get here? And then maybe then move forward to say, oh, okay, now that I realize where I went wrong, let me then go through. And I think when you feel that you're overwhelmed and you probably don't know what to do, reach out to someone. There is someone there, either your banker or a friend that manages their finances well. Reach out to them. Let them help you. One of the things, Debbie, that we are afraid of is that we are afraid to ask for help because money is so personal.
Yes.
We want to keep up this facade that we've got everything under control, but not everybody has got everything under control. And if we can just be able to have that one person that we can talk to when we are overwhelmed, they're able to calm us down and to show us, no, you can still do better in this area.
The magic lies within the vulnerability at that moment. When you're in that overwhelmed panic situation, you're probably going to make wrong decisions. But when you become vulnerable and you open up and you get somebody to just double check, bounce your ideas off what your options are, things can turn out better for you. And once you've been able to go through that a couple of times, that builds confidence.
Definitely.
And the more confidence you get, the more you're able to feel, I can make good money choices and I can help others make money choices.
Definitely.
Wendy, your career has been in service of, in the financial services industry with people, and has been serving those to make money choices. In your career, can you think of one or two examples that may reflect the discussion we're having today about people who've been in a bad situation and have managed to come out with positive affirmation and are able to show up and say that, you know what, I got through this and it was my learning?
So I would rather say maybe one of the roles that, and we were having that discussion, is that when I was at the bank, also used to help staff members who were in financial distress. What we would do is we would give them that once-off opportunity to pay off all their debts and start over again. One of the gaps that was there that I picked up was that we were not giving them the tools to say, we've paid off your debt, now you can start your investment and your saving journey. So while you're paying off this one loan, you also then need to start investing and saving for your future. So you're doing two things, paying off a loan but also growing your wealth. And I can tell you, Debbie, I've had so many positive stories from people who have said this helped us a lot, because then, we were able, while still paying off the one debt that we have, to shape our future. So when you finish paying off the debt, you already have a savings and an investment portfolio. So I just want to say to those that are watching us that, you can do both depending on what your situation is. But definitely you can be paying off debt and still building your wealth.
And saving. Tough choices, but saving has to be there. That's that one of those 10%.
Yes.
We want to reframe how we talk about feeling about money. So I don't want to feel that I'm bad with money. I would rather want to say I'm learning to manage my money better. I don't want to say I don't have money. I want to say that the money I have, I'm using the best way I can.
Yeah.
Is there any other view that you would think of on reframing statements, Wendy, that we can share with our listeners?
Yeah. I think one of the statements that one can reframe is, our parents used to say, oh, money doesn't grow on trees. And so as children, we grew up thinking that money doesn't grow on trees. Actually, our parents were wrong. Money does grow from trees, because trees, give us paper, and money is paper. So it's for us to reframe, and when we speak to our children and not say, oh, no, we don't have money, because when children and people always hear we don't have, what they begin to think about is lack. But if we can just say, reframe and say, not this month, let's look at our spending plan. Let's see where we can accommodate your needs. And so we start being positive about it. We don't say, I don't have money, because then that sticks to your mind. But you say, this month, I'm not able to meet this obligation. But probably next month, I'm going to work towards that. So you reframe everything. You move from negative to positive.
That's incredible. Wendy, spending time with you goes by so quickly. We could have 2-hour-long PodBlasts. And we can't wait to have you back to talk more about money. And just to our listeners again, Wendy is an author and has a practical book that can help you manage your money. And she's asked the questions. If only she had known some of this information earlier on in her life. And she's sharing that with you, all of you. Send us a voice note, tag us on XMGage. We're building a brave space for financial truth. Be vulnerable, be open. Your money journey is your legacy. This is XMGage PodBLAST, where healing meets financial wisdom and every story counts. Thanks for joining us on XMGage PodBLAST, where we believe every experience counts and small insights spark big shifts. Follow us for more episodes, tag us with your takeaways, and let us keep the conversation going. Until next time, stay curious, stay human.